Look at this. Look at these three beautiful creatures right here. Just heading up the hill. Pretty amazing. Pretty beautiful. They were just over here relaxing for a while. Anyway, happy fake New Year. It's been a while. Let me get this going. It's been a while. Is that going? There we go. The weather here has been, as you can see, the snow. But prior to the snow, it was raining and windy and cold. It's not really video making weather. My work schedule doesn't really allow for me to make videos during the day because the sun is gone by the time I'm out. So here we are. Anyway, happy fake New Year on their timeline, not our timeline. They try to throw us off from our natural cycles, which they are manipulators and they are inverters and they are pieces of shit. So that is what they need to do in order to control this realm. They must manipulate it. And that is what they do. That is what they've done since time out of mind. We know it's not the new year. The new year would never fall when it's dead and nature's taking a little bit of a hiatus and it's barren and cold, and that's not the new year. The new year is spring. The new year is rebirth and regrowth and the offspring and the earth coming back into a form. That is the new year. That is in April. That is April 1st, which is why they call that April Fool's Day, because that is what they think of us. Fools, know-nothings, peons, serfs. But that's not all of us. So to the manipulators and to the social controllers, you guys can all kindly fuck yourselves, because you don't have all of us. You've always had the masses and you will always have the masses, and that's unfortunate because reality is based on collective consciousness, and the consciousness of the masses is base level, and so therefore we experience whatever it is the masses experience and want to experience and desire to experience, which is unfortunately slavery. And that is where we live. We live in a slave system, and that is what we're doing. We walk every day, we wake every day, and we roam about this beautiful realm, which is just remnants of what it used to be, and it's a slave world. But they sure as hell didn't waste any time, did they? Getting things started for the year 2026, which it is not really 2026, but we'll just go with their fake timeline for now. They wasted no time. Absolutely no time. This shit with Venezuela is so utterly disgusting. And so, even though, you know, I am a staunch anti-state, anti-government, pro-freedom, pro-sovereignty individual. If you want to use a label, it is anarchist, which is voluntary interaction, which is no masters above, no slaves below, which is the only thing that produces a moral, free outcome. Anyway, even if you want to play the game of government and that it's moral and that it's okay to exist and that it has the right to exist, let's play that game. What just happened is so unlawful, it's ridiculous. A country goes into another country without any formal declarations of anything and quote unquote kidnaps their leader and his wife. Now, it doesn't matter if that leader is a good guy or a bad guy. We all know that it is all a fucking game. It is all a stage, and they are just moving pieces on their chessboard of their own design. And this is all planned and pre-planned. They've been talking about Venezuela for years and years and years, that Venezuela needs to get under control. We need to take control of Venezuela. Venezuela is one of the richest countries in the world. Just so happens that their current character puppet also speaks openly about being anti-Zionism and pro-Palestinian. So that's not okay. Zog cannot have any countries out there that speak this way. And so there must be a display of force, and there must be normalization of preemptive strikes. Because if you're going to sit there with a straight face and say this is about drugs, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Just get out. How can you take yourself seriously talking like that? The CIA, the FBI, The government has been involved with drug running since the beginning. That's where most of these families, these bloodline families, made their money from. The Roosevelts made their money from opium. What were we doing in Afghanistan for 20 years? Opium. It is not about drugs, because now that they've taken this bad leader out, doesn't matter, it's not our business. He's talking about, everybody's favorite daddy, Trump, is talking about, well, we should really look at Colombia, we should really look at Cuba, and we really need to look at Mexico because the cartels are out of control. Fucking serious. It's incredible. It's so incredible to me, and people applaud it. The MAGA crowd, the Trump train, applauds all of this immoral, evil, tyrannical bullshit. And now he has the nerve to talk about Greenland. We need Greenland for strategic advantage. The Russians, fuck off with this whole Russian boogeyman bullshit. The Russians and the Chinese have ships off of Greenland. We need it for national defense. Our country's not defended now as it is. It's never been defended. You can look at 1913 as the linchpin, right? That's why I always use 1913. That's the income tax, the Federal Reserve, and that is World War I. Since then, this country's been a joke. Year after year, we lose more freedom. We become more and more enslaved to this system. They destroy family farms. They destroy agriculture. They destroy the soil. They destroy education. They destroy everything. They destroyed medicine. They created the AMA in order to get rid of real doctors, naturopaths and homeopaths. Everything since then. And I was looking up to see how many years since its founding has the U.S. been at peace. An entire calendar year of no war, no proxy war, no regime change, no intervention, no nothing. Zero. And then the question you always have to ask is, who benefits from all of this? Who benefits? Because the U.S. doesn't benefit from any of this. The U.S. people, the people of this country, and what they think this country stands for and what it's supposed to be. We don't benefit. Our country's been destroyed. The cost of living destroyed, homelessness rising, disease rising, cancer rising, autism rising, infertility rising, IQ lowering, demographics radically shifting, safety gone. All of our once beautiful cities destroyed. This is all over the West, but I'm American, so I'll talk about this country and what it was meant to be. This country is utterly beautiful. For me, I've been lucky enough to live. I've traveled northeast, lived on the East Coast, lived in Florida for many years, born in the Midwest, lived there for many years, lived on the West Coast, and it's beautiful. Driven across the country a few times. It is absolutely breathtaking, but it's being systematically destroyed. And it had to be done within, because they cannot do it bringing people here to do it. It had to be done within, and that's what's happening. Zog has infiltrated every aspect of American life, and they are destroying it. We have open communists in running government positions, and the people, the Trump train, the MAGA train, just applaud it all as it goes. I mean, they wasted no time getting things going, because on their manipulated timeline, they have things they need to get done. We know 2030 is a big year for them. We know 2027 is a big year for them, for Zog. They want things in place by 2027. So they got a lot of work to do. I mean, they've pretty much genocided the entire Palestinian people, taken out all of Gaza. Real estate companies and real estate deals going on over there. Everybody's favorite daddy, Trump, has bombed almost 10 countries as president. Almost 10 different countries, and that's openly. We don't know what they're doing with backdoor deals, black ops, interventions, proxy wars, all of it. Yemen, Syria, it's just disgusting. And the fact that people applaud this, what just happened in Venezuela, if you applaud this, you are immoral. You are an immoral human being. You are not a spiritual person. You have no connection to your heart. If you are okay with and you applaud governments behaving this way, you are immoral. Plain and simple. There's no two ways about it. You support evil, and you can't be a good person if you support evil. Plain and simple. You just can't be. You are what you are the behaviors that you take in this world. You are not who you think you are. You are who you support. That's just the way it is. That's just the reality of life as a spiritual being. You can have all of these ego ideals. You can have all of these ideas of who you are and how you see yourself. You can have all the stories you want to tell, but you are what you do. You are your behavior. You are your actions. You are what you support. If you support death and destruction, if you support theft, rape, and murder and assault, by default, that's you. That is who you are. Deep down, you are okay with those things. And if you say that disgusting phrase of necessary evil, or the ends justify the means, or the lesser of two evils, you are immoral. It's crazy to me that people can call themselves good people, they can call themselves Christians while supporting their favorite daddy Trump as he just destroys this country. Every single day, there's more shit. Then you think about all of the stuff coming out about the Somalians in this country defrauding billions for decades. They've known about this. It's on record that they've talked about this openly. That there's been politicians bringing this to light decades ago. What was done about it? Nothing, because people benefit from it. Politicians benefit from it. Can you imagine allowing people from another country to come to your country that you were raised in, that you were born to, your spirit incarnated in, and that you had the pleasure of growing up in, and you look the other way as invaders, defraud your brothers and sisters of billions of dollars just so you can stay in power or just so you can get some kickbacks, while those that have worked and lived here their whole life have to sell their house and move into a camper or move into a small studio apartment because their property tax is too high and they can't cover it with their Social Security. But you have Somalis living in $500,000-$600,000 homes, driving luxury cars while running fake daycares, fake assisted living facilities. And this is what you look by. You look the other way. It's incredible. It's incredible what we're dealing with. And I don't know what it's going to take, how many staged events, because this whole thing in Minneapolis with the ICE shooting that woman in the face, and when you look at all the different video footage, it's not what they say it is. But the point is what's being displayed on the screen, which is a government agent shooting an American in the face, and what will be done about it. Because this is what they're normalizing. People don't understand that the police and the DEA and ICE and all of these people, they're trained by Israel. They're trained by the IDF. So the tactics that are used on the Palestinian people are used here, are used everywhere. People don't realize that. And so what's going to happen? What's going to happen from the situation? Is it going to be normalized that they can just shoot at will? We already know that they have implied immunity. The police do, or what's it called? Not implied immunity, but it's something immunity. I can't think about I can't think of the first word right now. Where the police, what they do while they're on shift is pretty much, it's okay. I mean, think about what police are. You can get pulled over for a nonviolent crime, so to speak, for going 60 and a 50 or 65 and a 50, and if you don't follow what that tyrant says to the letter, you can be shot and killed. You could be jailed and put into a cage. All because you were going 65 over in a 50, no crime, no one else on the road, but because you're not listening to the orders of this fucking tyrant and his ego, or her ego, you could be shot. That's our country. That's the country we live in. And people think it's normal, people think it's necessary, and it's fucking pathetic. I don't know if that will ever change, because I think what human beings and animals as well used to be, living more in a symbiotic relationship with this realm, and this realm was vastly different. Even here where I am now, when you walk back into these hills, you can see ruins. You can see ruins of old structures. You can see the brickwork and everything, and it's amazing. And it's all over this world. So what this realm used to be, what human beings used to be, what the animals used to be like, I don't know if we'll ever get back to that. Because every year, human beings are devolving. And they're not wasting any time. And as human beings continue to be devolved and sterilized, I don't know if you've seen any of the sperm of of men in recent years. They're doing a lot of analysis of sperm of males, and it's dead. It's inactive. And you look at it versus the way it used to be. You look at testosterone levels and how they're being under attack. That's one of the main ones, and you can see it everywhere. So I don't know what the future holds, but the more you look into everything and the more you see how bad it's getting and people are just applauding everything, it's hard to see any hope on the other side. It really is. Because even though our country's being destroyed and everything's being taken from us and they're applauding it as it goes, you know, people are watching football. Saturday, ooh, college football. Sunday, ooh, professional football. Gotta watch football. Who cares that government agents are shooting people in the face? Whether real or staged doesn't matter. It's about what they're trying to do with the event. Same as the Charlie Kirk situation. No matter how many people connect dots with all of these judges and lawyers and law firms and real estate agents that are connected to all of these machinations that our government gets up to, and that they all lead back to the same source, the small hat crew. Doesn't matter. Football's on. Got to go ride my dirt bike or my side-by-side. Got to go target shooting. Got to go play golf. And you got to think too, you know, all of the, it's just going all over the place here, you know. AGI is going to be rolled out at any moment. They have it. It's not like they, you know, the AI experts say, oh, it could be 2 years, 10 years, whatever. They have it. What they show us is what they give us, but what they actually have behind closed doors is 50 to 100 years in advance of what they actually show us. AGI is ready. The question is, are human beings ready for UBI? And that is it's a discussion worth having, because UBI, Universal Basic Income, means that the state will be giving the people enough money to survive on, not to live, to survive. And that money will come with stipulations. But first, are human beings ready for that? Because most people, the masses, most people garner their worth, their purpose, and the reason why they are alive, right? Meaning from their job. Whether they like their job or not, they have a routine, they go to work, they feel productive, they feel like they're contributing, they're providing for their family, etc. They derive meaning from their work, from their religion, which means it's borrowed, right? Most meaning for human beings is borrowed. It's external, from religion, from their job. And they use that in order to fuel their motivation to keep going in life and to remain focused. You take that away, which AGI will take that away for the vast, vast majority of people. Most jobs will be, for humans, most jobs will be gone when AGI is rolled out. You take away that purpose and what happens? Is the UBI that's going to be given enough for human beings to go and explore their passions? Is that what's going to happen? Absolutely not. We're dealing with the state. We're dealing with pedophiles. We're dealing with murderers. You think that they're going to provide enough UBI for people to live life fully? For us to travel around all of the world and our countries to explore all the beautiful national parks? Absolutely not. It's going to be just enough to survive. And what you do buy is going to be rationed based off of carbon credits. The carbon footprint. Oh, that's too much milk, that's too much meat, that's too much cheese, that's too much this. You've hit your allotment for the month. And so that's one issue, is what are human beings going to do? Because you have pieces of shit like Yuval Harari, who deserves to be removed from this realm in some form or fashion. Excuse me. What does he say? Everybody's favorite little fucking piece of shit, Yuval Harari. Oh, human beings, just give them drugs and video games. They're useless anyway. We're useless eaters. Just give them drugs and video games and just let them wither away. Because he's an anti-human piece of shit, and that's what he thinks. Give them drugs and video games. Okay, so that's one issue. Where will man get their purpose from? Because it's so sad to talk about this stuff. It is. It's heartbreaking. Humanity's consciousness is at base level. Plain and simple. If you observe the world, you observe behavior, the violence, the thievery, the assault, the apathy, the materialism, the vanity. Most human beings, the vast, vast majority, are base level consciousness, which is why we live in a slave world, which is why we live in a prison world, because we live in base consciousness. The mass majority just wallows in fucking 1% of their actual conscious ability. Now, there's a lot of discussions as to how that happens and why. Very curious questions, as, are these actual human beings? Are they spiritual beings? Or are they just here to normalize the misery? They actually aren't connected to their spirit. They gave that away many incarnations ago. The whole idea of the NPC. Or are they just so beaten down that they don't care? But regardless, in the aggregate, the consciousness is at base level. So is everybody going to be out there doing these amazing things, creating music and art and philosophy and poetry, and are we going to be building these great structures like our ancestors did? Absolutely not. We're not. And then aside from that, you think about the fact that this UBI is coming from the state. The state is pedophiles, murderers, wannabe tyrants. So that UBI is going to have stipulations. Are you up to date on your injections? Are your children up to date on their injections? You want to homeschool your children? Oh, sorry. The UBI is only for those who their children are being sent to pre-K through senior year of high school in the absolute horrible, horrific, disgusting, soul-crushing public education system. If you want to homeschool, well, no UBI for you. So it's going to be an interesting time with AI, and the fact that they just set this precedent where they can just go into another country and remove quote unquote leaders it's unbelievable. And you have people applauding it. You have all of the fake politicians and the fake media talking heads just signing on for it. Oh, this is great. This is so great. This is America first. How the fuck is it America first? Man. What a world, huh? What a fucking world we live in. It's just so evil. It's incredible to me. It's sad and it's incredible. Which is why I spend most of my time just in nature, because that's the only world place you can find peace. Not that this is like the most peaceful area. The fact that, here you go, turn you around. There's the city down there, and you got houses over there, but it's still relatively quiet. But, if I go 40 minutes up the street, I'm in one of the most beautiful areas in the country. But still, because of the invasion, it is very overcrowded at this time of year. Well, actually all the time, but specifically this time, because people want to snow and snowboard and ski and all of that. But it's incredible. I'm very curious to see what happens. Will Eastern Europe be able to hold on to itself as it's trying to right now, to not allow the invasion to take place in their country? We'll see. 2026 will be interesting. The nationalist movement in Australia is gaining more and more people, so we'll see what goes on there. Then you have Western Europe. You have the remigration protests. You have the Italian. I don't put any stock in any of these so-called leaders, right? But you have the Italian prime minister or president, whatever they use there, speaking very harshly about what it means to be Italian. You have the Japanese prime minister, leader, whatever, president. She's saying the same thing, that, they're both saying the same thing, that to be Japanese means you're Japanese. To be Italian means you're Italian. You don't just get a passport because you want to be here. Now, clearly, as an anarchist, I don't agree with any of these things, any of these passports and licenses and any of this shit. But in the modern world, in order to get our consciousness to raise back up collectively, we need to be at peace. And you cannot be at peace when your country is constantly at war and your people are constantly struggling. Because in order to introspect and to think deeply about life and ask the big questions, you yourself have to be at peace. And if you are struggling to survive while you're also watching your country just be destroyed by those that actually want to see it destroyed, then you're never going to be able to come to a point to where you understand yourself fully and that you're walking in selfhood. So until we can get to that point, yes, we need to have our quote-unquote countries, because this melting pot, this lie, this bullshit has produced nothing but utter chaos. Because you cannot assimilate those that hate your culture and hate the religion that is the background of your culture, being Western civilization. you're not going to get people from another religion to assimilate into that way of life. It's not magic dirt. People have different beliefs and different religions and different attitudes towards men or towards women or towards children or towards animals or towards littering, for God's sake. I mean, people act as if you can pick up anyone from anyone in the world, spin them around 3 times and just pat them on their ass and let them walk in any direction and they'll fit in just fine. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Go look at Bangladesh and go look at parts of India and go look at parts of Pakistan and all these countries, and you look at their religions and you look at the way they treat each other, and you tell me that that's at all cohesive and it can mesh with Western civilization, and you're lying. You're lying. And if you haven't traveled at all, and you haven't lived in those places, you have no idea what you're talking about. And it doesn't take traveling to understand this. It doesn't. It doesn't take traveling to understand this. If you're honest with yourself, and you know what Islam is, and you know what Sharia law is, how could you ever think that that would work well in Europe or in America? Were our ancestors just ridiculous cavemen, Neanderthals that weren't intelligent? They were far more intelligent than the average person today, and they knew. Spain fought for 700 fucking years to get Islam out of their country because it doesn't work. The data proves it. You look at all the rape rates, the assault rates, the theft, the thievery, the defrauding, the scams. We know who's doing it. Even when the data is skewed and manipulated, it's still astronomical. You tell me how Sweden goes from one of the safest places, the happiest places in the world, into the shithole it is today. And what's the one change? Oh man, I wonder what it could be. Look at Germany, look at Ireland, look at Dublin, look at Edinburgh, look at London. What's the one change? It's not hard. The fact is that the masses are so afraid to speak honestly, and they're so afraid to be seen as mean that they're willing to throw away everything that their ancestors built. They're okay to put their grandmothers and their moms and their aunts and their sisters and their daughters and their nieces in harm's way because they don't want to seem mean. It's incredible to me. It really is. I don't know how we got to this point, but I do know that there's no coming back from it unless more people talk about it in some form or fashion, whether it's making videos, making pages, talking to people in streets, posting flyers, whatever the fuck it is. Just doing your part. What a world, though. What a fucking world. It seems as if everybody's favorite daddy, Trump, is really just trying to accelerate the destruction of this country as fast as possible. And the fact that people applaud it and look the other way, it blows my mind. We're going to be caged in here because eventually they will throw in the idea of no more international travel unless you want to give up your biometrics, unless you want to sign up for the digital ID, which is coming. So people will be pretty much stuck here, and they'll be sitting ducks because it's like they're under Stockholm syndrome with this motherfucker. I don't get it. He has never done one single thing for the American people. No politician has. Every one of our politicians pays homage to Israel. They all go and put their hand on the wall and they fucking they bow down and they show who they pledge allegiance to. And it is not Israel. It is not the United States. It is Israel. Name another place where politicians from all over the world go and visit and show their subservience to. Name one. There's only one. Name one country outside of Israel that you are banned from talking about, banned from describing. Otherwise, you could lose your job, you could lose your bank, you can lose everything just from calling out the behavior of this country. Name one. If you want to know who controls you, figure out who you are not allowed to criticize. Very famous quote. I think was it Voltaire that said that? I'm not sure. I can't remember. But you want to know who controls you, find out who you cannot criticize. There's only one country and only one religion you are not allowed to criticize in this world, and that is Zog. You can burn churches. You can mass murder Christians. You can do whatever you want. You can disparage. You can ridicule. You can mock. And it's all fun and games. It's all ha ha ha. Who gives a shit? You can burn Bibles, you can burn churches, whatever. But if you even hint at even saying something remotely critical of Judaism, Zionism, you can lose everything. There's people all over Western world sitting in jail for opinions. There's people sitting in jail for questioning historical events that clearly don't add up when you look at all the evidence. But facts don't matter to these people because look at what they did in the early 1900s. When the Bolsheviks took over Russia, what did they do? Well, after, mass murdering, 50, 60 million Christians, what did they do? Prior to that and during that and after that, they made it a law that you are not allowed to criticize Israel and Judaism. They made laws. What are they doing here? Same fucking thing. Same fucking thing. Because people don't realize, and that's because it's not taught in schools, that the Russian Revolution, that Bolsheviks were Jews. They were Jews. The gulags were ran by rabbis. There were rabbis running gulags. But you're not taught that. They're not taught about the slave trade and what that really was all about. They weren't taught that there were more European slaves than there were ever African slaves. They weren't taught that the ships were owned by Israel, Jews. Well, not Israel. Israel wasn't in existence yet, which is just hilarious to me. That, this is our promised land. This is where we're supposed to be, but, we need to take it from other people first. Balfour Declaration, World War I. If you want to look at one of the biggest pieces of shit ever to live, that set into motion the most damage that we go through on a daily basis, look no further, look no farther, whether it's distance or depth, than Woodrow Wilson. He was there for World War I, the income tax, and the Federal Reserve. He was being handled by Colonel Mandel House, who he was just a messenger and a handler for his fucking masters. But regardless, if you want to find the face where it all began, not that he would have stopped it on his own, because if it weren't him, it would have been the next guy or the next guy. It doesn't matter. But anyway, instead of rambling, let's just get the hell out of here. It's beautiful though, huh? It's a beautiful day out. But this is just destruction over here on the West Coast. It's, if you look at a map and you see the East Coast is just full of dense greenery, and over here it's just death and destruction. When I look at this, I just see death and destruction starting to regrow now with these small shrubs. But the West Coast, we look at Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, it's just destruction because of previous resets. And that's a topic worth looking into. It's very interesting, and as soon as you start doing it, it's just very obvious that this realm is not what they say it is, and we are not what they say we are, and we don't come from where they say we come from, and our history is absolutely not what they say it is. But it's very interesting and very, mind exploding, mind blowing to see these old ruins and and look at the old architecture, and it's awesome. It's a nice break from all of the bullshit. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in 2026. We shall see. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I got to go change and take my butt to the gym. But wherever you are, as always, if you have remained human throughout all of these years and all of this horse shit that we go through and the propaganda and the mind control, and you have held on to yourself and you've held on to your connection to this realm and your spirit and to animals and all of it, to the plant life, all of it. You understand the non-aggression principle and the self-defense principle. You've cared to look into what objective truth is and objective morality and understanding that's what makes reality function, all of that. If that is you and you care about yourself and your fellow brothers and sisters, just know that I'm forever grateful for you. And although we may never meet, and most likely will never meet, that I love you deeply for holding on to your spirit and for who you are. We are few and far between on this realm, and I think that's almost on purpose. It seems like it is, at least, that we're all sporadically placed, because in your own day-to-day life, you don't meet people that actually know about what's going on, care about what's going on, and that aren't brainwashed into, being on their knees in front of their favorite daddy Trump or whatever other politician it is, and it's just hard. But if that's you, just know that, this strange guy over here talking to himself and looking at a camera, I care deeply about your being, and thank you. Forever grateful for that. But until next time, take care of yourself. Never behind.